My name is Cheryl Kaiser, and my daughter is Sarah. She was diagnosed with fetal alcohol spectrum disorders at the age of 16. Her actual diagnosis is alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorders. And this is our story. When they found in kindergarten, they weren't sure if it was a learning disability or if she just needed more time, if it was due to the hearing impaired, because she was in a hearing impaired kindergarten at the time. But 3 weeks into a mainstream class at a private school in first grade, they immediately knew there were big issues. We enrolled her in a special private school for children with learning disabilities, smaller classes. They break into smaller classes and then they get together in larger classes for some subjects. Still wasn't enough. They suggested that we even put her in a smaller class that was limited to maybe 10 children. So we found that with a suburban school system. We sold our home in Toledo to the suburbs and enrolled her in that school. And I was able to manage her education much better in a small community. But still, I had to stay on top of things with the IEPs. Where things fell apart, they told me they were going to mainstream her in the 4th grade into her 2 strengths. And come the school year, the teacher mainstreamed her into everything. And the mainstream kids sat together in the cafeteria and the other kids threw banana peels at them. To this day, she remembers that. There's more than just the learning issues with fetal alcohol children. That's probably the biggest thing people have to understand. The behaviors are misunderstood. The reasons for the behaviors are misunderstood. We brought in the psychologist that had been working with Sarah and had her train the school on how to handle these issues. When she was in junior high, they took her labels away. They took all her special ed protection away because she scored 20 out of 30 on the deficit. And this is something education needs to understand, the Department of Education. She had that 20-point deficit because of the structure we had built to protect her, because of all the work we've done. Taking it away just made everything fall apart. I even went through an appeal process, and when I walked in, I knew that I was wasting my time. The teacher, the director, and the principal, they had already still had their mind made up. So they removed the special ed, they put the special ed label back on her after there was a suicide attempt in high school. That was way too late and way too dangerous. I mean, I could have lost my daughter over some nonsense. High school, once we had the suicide attempt, they were very accommodating. And they gave her a label of emotional, I forget what it's called, emotional disability, something like that. But I didn't care, as long as I could manipulate and work with her classes. I wanted her in a class that learned how to do checkbooks, learned how to do, daily budgeting, things that she was going to use in an everyday environment. So they did allow us to use that class, and she did beautiful, and it did help because she's now balancing her checkbook, and it helps when I taught her at home too. So that label helped me do those things and manage her classes. The greatest success for Sarah's education was her graduation from high school. It was a major, major success. Most children with fetal alcohol issues, that is a challenge to make it that far and to graduate without being kicked out of school a bazillion times. Not that we didn't do our share. We did our share in school suspensions, but graduating from high school was a huge success.
It was just a big challenge through all of my elementary, junior high, and high school years. But I did make one success, and that was graduating through high school and getting my diploma. Well, since I graduated through high school, I went to college, and I didn't like it, but because I guess I wasn't ready. And since I used my mom for bonding, I'm really close to her. I missed my mom and dad, and I just couldn't make it, but at least I tried. I would usually go through many different jobs, 6 months here, 2 months here, 3 months here. And I finally, 2 years ago, I finally found a Georgette's. It's called Georgette's Grounds and Gifts. And it's a job for people with learning disabilities. And they have many job coaches that you can go to and interact with. And at least I know I'm comfortable working. I prefer working with people with learning disabilities because I just know it's not like a challenge, that I always have to compete against people with non-learning disabilities, because I feel like I stick out like a sore thumb. The biggest achievement in my whole entire life was 3 months ago when I purchased this home. I had to go through lots and lots of work. It took me 2 years to get this house. I had to work with a realtor. I had to work with the landlord at my other apartment. I had to go do lots of paperwork. I had to go to several meetings and take several classes through LMHA. And the only reason why I got this house is because I was eligible because I had learning disabilities, but also because I was qualified to be on Section 8 in LMHA. Living is called assistant living, and I had to do a lots of stuff, classes, paperwork, and all of above. I am now 26 years old. At birth, I was diagnosed with fetal alcohol effects, and what that is, it's when I was inside my mom's stomach, they told me that she drank heavily, and it just messed up my head, and it made me challenged, and it's harder to do things. But she did drink, and that's why they diagnosed me. Had fetal alcohol effects, but at the age 16, I was confirmedly diagnosed with it. But I don't have the syndrome, but I have the effects. It's two different things. The effects is when you don't have the facial features, and the syndrome is when you do have facial features. And I was lucky I didn't have the facial features, but being FAE, I've came a long way since when I was little to now, and with the help and the support with my parents and stuff. I know I have learning disabilities, but I don't use it as a barrier. I work with it, and this is what you see now. I have my own house. I know how to pay my bills. I pay my bills on time. I was never late with my bills for 4 years. I've got my driver license at 21 years old. I graduated from high school at 18 years of age, and I'm doing just fine. I'm at my job for 2 years, and I just want to say for everybody out there, don't use it as a barrier. You have to work with it to succeed in life. The people with fetal alcohol and effects and the people with learning disabilities and challenge, you have to be patient with them, and you have to work with them one-on-one. And you have to understand where they're coming from, because they're the ones that have it, not you. It's like picture yourself being in somebody else's body and having all the challenges that we have to go through. And you just really have to sit down and think about it and work with us one-on-one. And just the best thing to do is just to be patient with them. Get more educated, probably go to classes and stuff, and learn with people that have FAE and learning disabilities. Go to seminars, go educate yourself, and you'll come along. Because I came along. I was in grade school, junior high, and I made it. High school, and I graduated. And most people that I heard do not graduate. With people they'll end up dropping out, doing drugs or stuff like that. And I didn't. I succeeded, and I got this house and know how to pay my bills. And most of all, I graduated from high school and got that diploma.